After a whole year in the United States, breaking through the stand-up comedy industry and headlining shows at the Hollywood Improv, the Haha Comedy Club, and the San Jose Improv, among others, Lebanon's favorite comedian is back. With a new movie hitting theaters on December 10th, titled Victoria's Secret, and a tour that will take him across the United States and the Middle East, Nemr Abou Nassar's outreach keeps getting bigger and better. Welcome, Nimr.
Hi, Youmna.
Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. Thanks for having me.
Did you make sure you would be here on Independence Day?
I did, because I thought there was going to be like roadblocks, so I came really early. And it was, oh, you mean here in the studio or here in Lebanon?
Here in Lebanon.
That's why I came.
You came for Independence
I came for Independence Day. No, I came here for the movie, basically, and that's what we're doing.
I want to get to the movie in 1 second. You know, it's very sad since it is Independence Day. Mm-hmm. These are sad times because of things that are happening in Lebanon and in the world.
Yeah.
We've had protest over waste management crisis, no president for like a year and a half now, ISIS, and it's a little bit all over the world. And yet you always seem to champion Lebanon.
Yeah.
It's like we live two different worlds.
Well, why not? I mean, we're doing great.
Yes and no, right? How do you stay upbeat? It's always a question I ask you. How do you stay upbeat?
Well, unequivocally, yes. We share a border with Syria, which is the most conflicted area in the world right now.
Israel.
Israel. We have 1.5 million, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, almost 2 million refugees.
Almost 2 million refugees. Our borders are practically open, and we happen to be one of the more stable countries in the Middle East right now, which never really happened before. Also, the fact that trash was our biggest problem in the summer is kind of a nice thing. I mean, how long has it?
How is that a nice thing?
When was the last time?
How is that? You were not here to see it. It was
I did.
Terrible.
I came.
Okay.
I came in and out. When was the last time that we had problems that had to do with us? Do you know what I'm saying?
As opposed to exterior
As opposed to like we're
influences.
fighting other people's wars and proxies. Now, in a way or another, we were even with that situation. But, you know, it was better than people, you know, dying in the region. I mean, stuff is really dire.
You know, actually, it's in addition to that, because we've had problems coming back and forth. You know, you and I have spoken about this before in interviews as well as live.
Yeah.
We've talked about this enchanted youth in Lebanon and everybody wanting to leave, and yet you're breaking through in the United States, and you still choose to come back here and be like, well, this is where I'm from, and I love it, and on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, using social media, check it out, this is Lebanon.
Yeah.
Why the love?
Well, I mean, first of all, I would be nowhere if it wasn't for Lebanon, right? Like, I came from here. This is where I became famous and known, and I developed my skill, my talent, was in front of Lebanese crowds. Before I went to Jordan and Saudi and Kuwait and Qatar and whatever and all that stuff, it was in Dubai or whatever, it was all here. And let's face it, I mean, this is the epicenter of culture, not only in the Middle East, but in the world. We have the largest diaspora population in the world. We have, what, 18 million Lebanese outside of the country? Lebanon isn't about where you live. It's about who you are. It's your spirit. I mean, the things that we've been through and the places we've been, and we're still around, that tells you, how could you not be in love with something that great? I mean, we faced the biggest odds ever. So whenever I come back here, I feel refreshed. Whenever I go to the US, I feel like I'm spending what I collect here. I know it's against what most people believe should be the sentiment, but that's what I feel like here, because this is us. This is who we are. It's the only place in the world that's like this.
Speaking of the US, now that you've started, you know, a year ago when we spoke, you're about to embark on this journey that would take you to the US.
Yeah.
Now you've played a lot of these theaters, you've headlined a lot of shows there. So when you know, because the American audience is different than the Lebanese audience, but as a Lebanese citizen, as well as an American citizen, because you are...
I'm Lebanese American.
You're Lebanese American. Was it hard breaking into the US comedy industry?
It was surprisingly easy. And
how is it easy, especially with what they have going on with immigration there and everything?
That's a testament to, first of all, how powerful it is. This is one thing I learned. Why do you think no comics in the Middle East have been able to break into Lebanon, but they've been able to break into other areas in the Middle East? If you can make it in Lebanon, you can make it anywhere. If you make it outside of Lebanon, it's tough to make it here. This is the most advanced, culturally enriched, powerful crowd you could stand in. Incredibly judgmental to a fault, which is fantastic, because that's what I've been sharpening my blade on.
How do you find the American audience compared to the Lebanese
audience? They come
audience?
ready to laugh. They got no problems. They got nothing going on. Their electricity's working fine. Their trash is being picked up. There's no war that they know of. They couldn't even point out their own country on a map. So they're fine. So you go in, they're ready to have a good time. I go up.
They don't care where you come from.
I
what
go
you
up
do.
as Nimr from Lebanon. I open up by saying I grew up in San Diego, but I'm Lebanese, and I start making jokes about it and go. And you know what? There's one thing that I know: if you make people laugh, no matter how prejudiced they might be, that's it. You've just won. And I found incredible success. Maybe because I'm really good, maybe because they're really nice, but I think it's a mix of the two.
And you are, speaking of comedy, you are launching this new movie, December 10th, Victoria's Secret. This is, of course, different than Epic, which was the last movie you put out. You know, when people come to you and they're like, this is self-indulgent, your own movie, what do you say to them?
I say, how is that self-indulgent? I lose money on these. I lose a lot of money on
Why a movie?
Why a movie? Because it's an experience. Look, we did a show, there was 3,000 people in one night, right? And at the time the show went down, people were burning tires in the streets, the airport was closed, stuff was going down, and we're kind of in the same place right now in terms of like unrest. But 3,000 Lebanese people got together and we laughed for 2 hours and nobody did anything political. I want us to remember those, I want those images to be the most powerful images of Lebanon. So I want it to be in a movie theater on a huge screen. I want the sound to be all encompassing, and I want people who couldn't afford to watch my shows because the tickets might have been too high or didn't want to give it a chance to be able to do that now in a perfect setting with perfect audio and visual experience and for cheap. I mean, you can take your girlfriend or your boyfriend and you can go for what, $15 for the pair of you.
Let me add that you also produced this movie. We're watching the trailer was showing on the screen. You produced this movie. You also helped enhance the sound. You said that the sound was, tell me.
Sound, if I could enter it into some kind of competition, it would win awards.
It would win awards.
It would win awards.
Like,
we mic'd, the way we mic'd the sound and we did it, I always had this vision. I tried to do it with Epic and I almost got it. But I was very happy that I was able to learn from that experience. And in Victoria's Secret, the movie that's coming out now, we really nailed the sound to make it really feel like you're there. Like genuinely, it's not like a marketing tagline, but you know, my voice is coming out of the center, and then you have all the crowd all around you. You'll hear people coughing behind you, laughing next to you. It's just,
so you feel like you're there, because I always said that there is something very distinct about being there for a live show.
Of
when
course.
You're stand-up comedy.
It's always the best.
It's the best.
It's the best way to experience something. But
Right.
what I tried to do here was not try to emulate that experience. I tried to take what can a movie cinema offer and use that to enhance the experience, to make it different than watching it live. So it's now a different, unique experience, not necessarily better or worse. Of course, watching it live is better because there's the whole thing going, getting ready and all that. But I mean, as a movie, it's cool.
It hits theaters December 10th, Vox City Center, to be precise.
Yeah.
You also have a tour coming up.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
haven't had, you're doing it next year. It would have been 2 years since you had any kind of stand-up comedy
show
night here.
Yeah.
Why 2 years?
I've been writing the new show. Usually I would...
So all new material?
All new material. Usually I do that in Lebanon. So by the time the special comes out, some people have heard some of the jokes. And I always used to hate that, but I had no choice. But you'd always see me popping up doing shows, trying to write out the show. Now I did that in the U.S.
And
instead.
this tour is going to take you to the U.S. and the Middle East as well?
It's going to take us across about 25 major cities in America, and then we're going to come to the Middle East and hit Jordan, Saudi, Dubai, everything, and then finish the entire tour. It's the first world tour I ever do. First world tour any Arab comic has ever done, and it finishes where it all started, right here in Lebanon.
Can I ask what you prefer between Lebanon and the U.S.?
Lebanon.
That's not you would say that?
100%.
Would you tell the Americans it's the Americans?
No.
No, you'd be like, this is...
No, because they need to experience, everybody needs to experience the Lebanese and Lebanon. They must. Because when they do, then they'll see what they've been missing out on. They have to.
What is it that you want people to see? And you're kind of, you know, this is an interesting thing, and I want to make sure our audience hears you say that. You said that you wanted to export Lebanon and come and show that comedy can unify people.
Yeah.
Remember, that's what you said? You were commenting and you said that this is going to be the best export.
Yeah.
Right? Comedy?
Yeah. Because look, Lebanon, we are the birthplace of everything. I mean, not just this country. I mean, the culture. I mean, in terms of like Phoenicians traveling, and then the language, and then the contributions we've given. The birthplace of religions is where we live. It's in this area. So we need to be all the religions. We need to be the people who carry humanity forward into showing how we can be one again. There was a time when we lived in harmony. And now we have internet.
Right? Somewhat. I mean, Lebanon has been known
Yeah, but
for
now
this
we have like internet and stuff, so we should be better than the people who were before us. And frankly speaking, everything that's been holding us back are the people before us. But they're dying now, which is great. And I've never been happier for an older generation to die out. They're dying out, and we're going to have to correct a lot of their mistakes. But if you do it with humor instead of with weapons, you get a good job going.
Today is Independence Day, and we couldn't have chosen a better guest to have, somebody who says that Lebanon needs to be experienced. It needs, everybody needs to have a taste of what it is. When you go, what do you take with you?
I took Lebanese once. It didn't work out well.
You did.
What do I
like
take?
a yogurt-based paste for everybody.
What I take with me every time is the spirit, the Lebanese spirit, which means no matter what I come up against. That's why I've been successful in the U.S. I've met some insane hurdles. Honestly, I don't think anyone could have done what I've done so far in the U.S., but for me, I did it in my stride because I took with me from Lebanon that ability to do anything.
And to meet challenges, because you know, we don't want people who hear you to think that you don't go through challenges, because you have your ups and downs.
But how am I going to complain about the challenges I went through in the U.S. when people were dying here?
Right.
So for me, it feels unfair. But I've lived here since 1993.
So there's gratitude there.
Of course, I've been here since 1993. I've lived horrific experiences. Then I go to the U.S. My biggest challenge is another comic. Big deal. People are having to deal with challenges here, like you don't have your trash being picked up. There are people dying in the streets, and you have to go to work the next day. Now, if you can do that, I can do the U.S. That's how I take it.
Thank you so much for being
here
on this Independence Day. That was Lebanese-American comedian Nemr Abou Nassar. We're saying Lebanese first today. Happy Independence Day to all our viewers, and back to you, Linda.